bit of a relief for everyone around here and anyone inside of that building. We've just confirmed from sources in the city that the suspect is dead on the 33rd floor of the Blackstone building of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Again, the suspect is down. Still, at this point, we are being told 3 people are in critical condition. Those 2 civilians who were shot, and also the police officer who we're told was off duty at the time. He was working a paid security detail inside of that building when he confronted that gunman inside the lobby, apparently, and that is when that off-duty officer was wounded in that gunfire. It does appear after the shooting happened in the lobby, the initial gunshots that broke out inside the lobby, the suspect made his way inside that building and up 33 floors, and it's unclear whether there are any casualties or injuries on that floor other than the gunman. That is something that is still being investigated right now. You can imagine that the police heavy weapons teams have just made their way up to the 33rd floor and are now clearing the area of any possible potential other dangers. So they are trying to determine the casualty count, if any others, on that floor as well. But again, Corey, at this hour, the suspect responsible for all of this chaos is down. He shot himself late tonight, and police tell us that there are 2 other casualties at the hospital right now in critical condition, along with that off-duty police officer. Back to you.
And, you know, we don't know much about that off-duty police officer yet, but boy, what a hero, right? I mean, to see this guy with this long gun and to jump into action to try and stop this guy, and I would imagine being on a paid security gig, he's not carrying that kind of, that kind of heavy weaponry to respond to that situation, but still jumping in and ultimately being shot and critically injured. I'm sorry, you can pick it up.
When they are off duty, they are typically in uniform, and they are carrying their service weapon from the NYPD. So yes, he had his handgun, but he didn't have a long gun. And as you saw from that photo, that is what the suspect was armed with at least. We don't know if there were any other weapons that he was carrying as well. So yes, extreme bravery and heroism on the part of that security detail who worked for the NYPD, who is now apparently fighting for his life.
All right, Anthony, obviously, you know, some great new information you got us there. Certainly stay out there. We'll check back in with you in a bit.
So this is a bit of a when he confronted that gunman inside the lobby, apparently, and that is when that off-duty officer was wounded in that gunfire. It does appear after the shooting happened in the lobby, the initial gunshots that broke out inside the lobby, the suspect made his way inside that building and up 33 floors.
Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Call Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutation, and blessings to the elect. So this is just, breaking news. Just happened, within the last hour, right? You had a mass shooting event take place in downtown Manhattan, as you just heard. Now, I was just waiting, listening to various different breaking news, from various different news outlets. And I came across this one, right, Pix 11 News, where they said that the guy, right, first off, he shot 6 people, right? And it's always that number 6. Interestingly enough as well, you had a shooting in Nevada earlier today where 3 people were shot dead, and you had several other people injured, and they said that this was ultimately 6 people also got shot, which as it says here, a gunman opened fire early Monday morning at a resort and casino in Reno, leaving 3 people dead and several injured as guests were startled by the spray of gunfire that could be heard from their rooms. The gunman's motive is still unknown, and there is no known connection between the suspects and the victims. In total, 6 victims were shot, 3 fatally, according to Crawforth. 2 remain in critical condition in the hospital. So it sounds exactly like what just took place over there in Manhattan. So, this could be just a total psyop. And the fact that this guy over here in New York, where were we? Right? He went to the 33rd floor, right? We know that these devils like to, use these numerologies. And this was a Blackstone building. Okay. Let's look at what Blackstone is about. I don't know if it's not a black. they had various different things in there, but I think Blackstone Corporation. So it's a private equity, right? So it's a private equity business, right? So, yeah. So this guy apparently shoots 6 people, then goes to the 33rd floor and then kills himself. Now, what I just also was breaking news that this guy, this is what he looks like. Okay, so apparently you have a what appears to be a Jake, right? Because initially they said it would look like a Middle Eastern man, which goes to show you, right? Because that was the first initial description of him, but it goes to show you, that Jake Israelites are, similarly looking as the people of the Middle East, because that's where Israel, that's where we come from. But nonetheless, it says the gunman in Manhattan office building shooting tentatively identified as Shane Tamura, 27 of Nevada. So this guy was from Nevada, and then you had also a shooting that happened in Nevada earlier today, where you both had 6 people get killed. 6 people got shot. It says 3 people fatally injured, right? 3 people were fatally injured. I think it said 1 person, and then here in this one, it says 1 person got killed. I was looking at other news articles. 1 person was actually killed, and then you had 2 people that are critically injured. So, this, could be a total setup, psyop. You have Trump just came out and said that his name may have been put into the Epstein files. So this could be a complete divergent tactic. But at the end of the day, and when I say it could be a setup, or FLAG, false FLAG, not saying that people didn't really get shot, but, this person could have been on, some type of psychological operation, right? That's what I'm trying to say, right? MK Ultra, et cetera, et cetera. But, it remains to be seen at this moment. But you have this Jake that came from Nevada, right, with this big ass, long ass rifle to come to this building at 345, I believe 345 Park Ave on 51st Street, right, to do this. Yeah, it was raising a lot of eyebrows, but at the end of the day, we're not ignorant, of any matter, small or great. Okay, and also, right, because you seen in the clip, you had people running, scrambling, trying to run for safety. So this goes to let you know that, you just your regular day that you thinking that you about to go to work, go home is going to be just a regular average, day that, things could change on a dime. All right. And if the Lord, if you're not protected and covered by the blood, right, and grace and mercy of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, then, hey, yeah, you up for the grabs, right? Because the at the end, when it's all said and done, these spirits of vengeance are all belong to the Father, right? The sword is sharpened and is given into the hand of the slave. But who is in control of all these things, right? It's the Heavenly Father. And as the scripture says, that these things are going to come upon the wicked. All right. The Lord is going to protect his elect from these situations, but he preserves the wicked for the day of evil. So, as we see, we're getting, in times, because even I was watching the CNN news about it. And the guy said, we've hear a lot of times about mass shootings in New York. This isn't something, that we're not accustomed to about, shootings in New York. But he's never seen somebody with, that type of confidence or bravado, whatever word he used, just walk up to a building with a long ass gun, like just exposed like that. Right. As you've seen in the clip, just exposed like that. And just walk up, to a building and go in there and just start at open fire. So, you're going to start to see more and more things like this, right? Where you got these spirits, because you can tell like he was on a mission, right? He was on a mission, And whether or not he was, told to do so, he was programmed to do so. But the fact that he went to the 33rd floor of this building and then killed himself it says a lot for the ones who I'll just close that by mistake. For the ones who know. If you know, you know. If you don't, then you need to find out before it's too late. But let me get this real quick and then close it out. Ecclesiastes 40 verse 9. Death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. All right. So these things are created for the wicked, right? Because as it says in the book of 2nd Ezra, that where there were going to be times that many evils, right, or miseries were going to happen. Okay. So those people that got shot, the people that got deleted, those families, they all got to deal with that now. Right. 2nd Ezra 8 verse 50, for many great miseries, and they're going to be in a miserable state of mind. Right. You going in to work on a Monday, right, thinking you about to just get back on the hamster wheel like you just did last week. And then boom, now this is your reality. Right. Those people that were in the office, how fearful they were. This is why you always got to pray. OK, when you step out your house, when you going on, you going to work, you on that train, or you on in traffic, or you walking anywhere, man. OK, you always got to pray that Yahweh Bashim Yahushai protects you, protects your loved ones, your household. All right, because if the Lord isn't with you, once again, we're in the time where these spirits of vengeance are out here. So it says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Okay, and you got a lot of these people that work in downtown or midtown Manhattan. You got their nice lofty offices, right? Whether you got CEOs and executive people that are in these buildings, and they are full of pride. Okay, and regular individuals, just Americans in general, just are full of pride. But we're in a time where the Lord said he's about to bring the lofty looks and the haughty looks low. But it's just very interesting that you got this Jake looking individual is the guy who did it. Right. And they haven't released the identity of the guy that was a shooter over there in Nevada. Right. In Reno, Nevada. But if it's another Jake, then you already, it just adds more of an eyebrow raising to this whole thing, because you have Esau, right, wants to paint this picture as Jake, Israel, being the new DT, right, domestic T. And you already see how he's moving with the northern tribes, the immigrants, as being criminals, violence. So now you got some southern tribe Jake looking dude doing something like this. So yeah, the time of Jacob's trouble is at hand, man. Okay, and they may come out with a manifesto that say, he had some, beliefs in what. So, just prepare your minds. OK, understand the times that we're in. Understand that, the persecution is coming. OK, but the Lord is going to defend his elect. All right. Those that stood stiffly, those that, confessed him before men. Well, he's going to confess before his Father, right? And the Lord is going to send that protection, divine intervention for us. So, that's it. Lord willing, if there's anything else that comes out with this, I'll touch back on it. But just wanted to touch on that. So till next time, shalom.